Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard threw a bash this weekend. She's trying to silence her critics amidst an ongoing federal investigation into her spending and leadership.
And it is as investigative reporter Ben Bradley found, like many of Henyard's events, taxpayers are left footing some of the...
Tiffany Henyard, the troubled mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has been under intense scrutiny due to several controversies that have sparked public outrage. Henyard's leadership has come under fire for her poor handling of the town's financial issues, allegations of mismanagement, and lavish spending at the expense of taxpayers. This growing discontent has drawn attention from both local and state officials, including Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who recently defended the state's residents amid the unfolding crisis in Dalton. Henyard's administration has been criticized for a lack of transparency, particularly regarding financial mismanagement and the questionable behavior of her associates. One of the most troubling incidents occurred when Henyard faced a recent community meeting where she refused to answer several important questions, raising suspicions that she was hiding something critical. The locals' frustrations were exacerbated by reports of her excessive spending, including a taxpayer-funded vacation to Las Vegas, where one of her associates was accused of misconduct. This event has prompted further scrutiny into Henyard's leadership and the town's declining financial health. The situation in Dalton has worsened as financial irregularities come to light, including a significant drop in the village's fund balance and questionable spending of public resources. The community is growing increasingly angry as Henyard's behavior seems to contradict her public statements. Governor Pritzker's defense of Illinois residents has cast a sharp contrast against Henyard's increasingly embattled position, emphasizing the ongoing issues of governance and accountability in places like Dalton. Additionally, Henyard's connection to recent scandals, such as the federal indictment of former Deputy Police Chief Louis Lacey Alley for bankruptcy fraud, has raised alarms about her inner circle. Henyard's political career has been marked by extravagant displays of wealth and excessive spending, even as the town's basic services crumble. The mayor has become the subject of ridicule after complaints surfaced about the cancellation of bingo nights and senior ice cream socials, community events that, in her view, symbolized the town's financial woes. However, these issues are symptomatic of a deeper problem. Dalton is struggling to afford even the most basic resources, such as ice cream for employees or gift cards for community events, due to Henyard's reckless management. While Henyard continues to make excuses for the financial freeze affecting the town, locals are holding her accountable for her role in the financial crisis. Despite the dire situation, Henyard has continued to indulge in extravagant spending, making it clear to residents that their tax dollars are not being used to improve their community, but instead to fund her lavish lifestyle. The town's infrastructure is deteriorating, and essential services are being cut or delayed as Henyard's administration fails to pay overdue bills. A major factor in the town's financial collapse is the inability of Henyard's administration to pay audits and bills on time. As a result, the Illinois State Comptroller has discontinued funding to Dalton, putting the city's survival in jeopardy. In her attempt to shift the blame elsewhere, Henyard has avoided responsibility, all while her constituents suffer from the lack of vital services and financial stability. The mayor's poor handling of Dalton's budget has been made even more evident by her lavish personal expenditures. Henyard has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on luxury accommodations, personal travel, and even home renovations. Among the most glaring examples of her excessive spending was a $500,000 restoration of her own home, which raised further questions about where the town's tax dollars were really going. The refusal to disclose financial information about these expenditures has been a key point of contention, with many accusing Henyard of violating state transparency laws. After months of resistance, Henyard's administration was forced to release several documents detailing her spending, following a lawsuit filed by WGN News. The documents revealed that between July and November 2023, Henyard and her team spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on luxury travel and personal indulgence. One of the most troubling examples was a 5-day trip to Austin, Texas in July 2023, where Henyard and several associates spent around $111,000 at the Fairmont Austin Hotel alone. Other expenses included almost $24,000 at Walmart and Target, over $14,000 in Amazon, and $389 at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Henyard also racked up nearly $5,000 in Uber Eats deliveries and spent over $3,400 on personal photography. These expenditures are particularly jarring given Dalton's financial struggles, with essential services and pensions for public employees hanging in the balance. The $500,000 spent on Henyard's vacation and home renovation contrasts starkly with the town's dire need for funding to maintain basic services, such as fire and police coverage. Firefighters in particular have been struggling to make ends meet as the town's pension fund dwindles. Despite her refusal to address the issues directly, Henyard's reign is being increasingly questioned by both local residents and state officials. The people of Dolton are growing more determined to hold her accountable for the mismanagement that has led to the town's financial collapse. While Henyard may attempt to deflect blame and shift focus onto the financial freeze, it's clear that the root cause of Dolton's problems lies in her poor management and careless spending. As the situation continues to unravel, it seems likely that a more thorough investigation into Henyard's actions and decisions will be forthcoming, and her already controversial term may be nearing its end.
Tiffany Henyard collected $287,000 back in 2022 from her 2 elected positions. That's the same year she founded a charity in her name. A charity that has received considerable tax dollars but hasn't filed basic records with the Illinois Attorney General or the IRS.
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dolton, Illinois, has found herself under increasing scrutiny, not only for her financial mismanagement but also for alleged misconduct involving charity funds. While she has avoided taking money directly from township accounts, her handling of charity donations has raised serious concerns, exacerbating the controversies surrounding her leadership. Henyard, who also serves as township supervisor, promoted the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation, established in the autumn of 2022. However, the foundation has quickly become the focus of intense scrutiny. The foundation received an initial $110,000 from the township board, which was surprising given that the funding came from an outside source. In contrast, during the foundation's first few months, it was only able to raise $33,000 from other donations. This stark discrepancy has sparked concerns about the charity's financial practices and the possibility that funds intended to help the community were being misused. Some critics argued that the foundation's operations are more about self-promotion than actually supporting those in need. Henyard's main responsibility as a public servant is to serve the people of Dolton, not to indulge in luxury at their expense. Yet, her actions have drawn widespread criticism, with local residents pointing to her extravagant spending habits. Meanwhile, essential services in Dolton continue to deteriorate, and the community is struggling with the lack of basic resources. Frustrated by Henyard's lack of accountability, residents have taken matters into their own hands. They have successfully imposed a spending freeze on Henyard, at least temporarily halting her access to township funds until a thorough audit is conducted. The Illinois Comptroller, Susan Mendoza, has also stepped in, withholding tens of thousands of dollars from Dolton. Mendoza stated that no further funds would be released until the village filed the required financial reports and demonstrated accountability in handling taxpayer money. This decision came after a preliminary report from former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot revealed troubling expenditures under Henyard's administration, which had turned a multi-million-dollar surplus into significant debt. Mendoza described the village's financial practices as unacceptable and emphasized that the goal of withholding funds was to protect the residents of Dolton, who she believes are being disrespected by Henyard's leadership. Mendoza also warned that if Dolton fails to address its overdue financial audits, her office would conduct a full audit and impose steep fines on the town. Henyard's lawyer has since issued a statement insisting that the mayor is working to ensure the town's accountants comply with the law and that she has never refused to cooperate with the comptroller's office. However, the financial department is under significant pressure from the village trustees to meet the comptroller's demands. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard has continued to defend her administration. During a recent public address, she criticized the trustees' efforts to impose a new credit card policy and limit expenditures. Henyard called for a special meeting to discuss the issue, but no trustees were present, and the meeting was canceled. She claimed that the trustees' actions, particularly the spending freeze, were severely impacting township services. Henyard argued that the freeze was a tactic to stop her, but she also suggested it was part of a broader strategy to halt activities in Dolton altogether. Despite the mounting pressure, Henyard has continued to defend her administration. During a recent public address, she criticized the trustees' efforts to impose a new credit card policy and limit expenditures. Henyard called for a special meeting to discuss the issue, but no trustees were present, and the meeting was canceled. She claimed that the trustees' actions, particularly the spending freeze, were severely impacting township services. Henyard argued that the freeze was a tactic to stop her, but she also suggested it was part of a broader strategy to halt activities in Dalton altogether. One of the new policies that Henyard criticized was the Village Council's decision to enforce stricter rules on event expenses. According to Henyard, this resulted in the sudden suspension of several township services. Despite her complaints, Henyard's critics argue that this freeze is a necessary step to curb her reckless spending and protect the financial stability of the town. Locals are increasingly aware that Dalton's future is at stake, and many see the spending freeze as a crucial move to prevent further wasteful expenditures by Henyard. Henyard has also continued to promote events such as food giveaways and community activities in an attempt to distract from the ongoing financial crisis. She advertised these events on social media, trying to maintain a positive public image despite the growing concerns. However, residents remain skeptical of her priorities, particularly as they watch her lavish personal expenditures while essential services in the town go unfunded. The cancellation of community programs like bingo nights and ice cream socials has only heightened the sense of frustration. As the investigation into Dalton's finances continues, the pressure on Henyard's administration is mounting. The charity controversy, coupled with financial mismanagement and lack of transparency, has fueled calls for accountability. With state and local officials now involved, Henyard's actions are under intense scrutiny, and the people of Dalton are determined to hold her accountable for the financial collapse of their community. Henyard's attempts to deflect blame and continue her extravagant lifestyle are increasingly being met with resistance as the residents of Dalton take a stand to protect their town's future.
Bounce house, skating, and a food giveaway.
But I spend my own money to make sure that I put on for myself. I always put my money for my outfit.
Henyard said she paid after trustees refused. They're trying to control her spending and were skittish because the event was...
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has faced increasing scrutiny not only for her personal lavish spending, but also for her administration's financial mismanagement, particularly affecting the local firefighters. The growing tension between Henyard and the township's trustees reflects a deeper concern over Dalton's financial stability and the well-being of those who serve the community, especially its firefighters. Henyard has been publicly critical of the trustees' refusal to allow her to pay for certain expenses, claiming they were attempting to control her spending. One event in particular, the Friends of Tiff Henyard Picnic, raised alarms because of its promotion under her name. Despite the fact that it was a community event, the connection to Henyard's personal brand and the trustees' hesitancy to approve spending indicated broader concerns about her financial practices and whether taxpayer money should be used to support her public image. At the heart of this issue lies the Dalton Fire Department, whose members are struggling with a severe financial crisis caused by the village's mismanagement. Adam Ford, president of Dalton Local 3766, has spoken out on behalf of his fellow firefighters who are facing increasing financial instability while still risking their lives every day to protect the community. Ford stressed that while the circumstances seem dire, the right people making the right decisions could help Dalton recover. But until that happens, the firefighters remain vulnerable to the consequences of the town's disorganized finances. The lack of transparency and unpaid insurance premiums have put Dalton's firefighters in dangerous situations, and the financial mismanagement has only exacerbated these issues. Some firefighters have had their insurance claims unjustly denied, and 3 individuals with expectant spouses are being excluded from essential healthcare coverage due to the village's inability to maintain their insurance. This is not just a theoretical issue. These are real people facing the consequences of financial neglect. The problems don't stop there. Dalton firefighters have not seen pay raises in years, despite the rising cost of living. This has added financial strain. But what's even more troubling is the mysterious disappearance of retirement funds. 9 deposits are currently unaccounted for, with no explanation from the administration as to where the money went. The ongoing silence from Henyard and her administration only adds to the frustration, leaving the firefighters in the dark while their futures hang in the balance. Legal action has been taken to recover the missing funds, but so far, little progress has been made. The situation has continued to worsen, with the mayor and her office offering no concrete answers or solutions. Meanwhile, the firefighters are left to navigate this turmoil on their own, doing their jobs without the support they desperately need from the village government. In stark contrast to the struggles of Dalton's first responders, Henyard's personal spending habits have continued unabated. Recent reports reveal that, despite the village's financial turmoil, Henyard has been living a life of luxury, indulging in lavish vacations, stays at high-extent hotels, and even a $500,000 renovation of her own home. This stark contrast between her lifestyle and the dire financial situation facing Dalton residents has further fueled public outrage. The mayor seems entirely detached from the realities facing the community she is supposed to serve, living as if the financial crisis does not affect her. While the firefighters are concerned about the future of their insurance and retirement funds, Henyard has continued to display an almost reckless disregard for public funds. Her extravagant spending has left the village teetering on the brink of financial collapse, with its once pristine surplus now swallowed up by debt. Dalton's citizens, including the firefighters who risked their lives to protect them, are paying the price for this mismanagement. The disparity between Henyard's lifestyle and the needs of the town's public servants is stark. Firefighters, who risk their lives every day to protect the community, are struggling to secure their future and provide for their families, while the mayor continues to splurge on luxuries. The situation has become so absurd that many residents, including the trustees, are questioning Henyard's fitness for office. Her lavish expenditures, when viewed against the backdrop of financial turmoil, seem not only irresponsible but almost delusional. The financial crisis in Dalton is not just about numbers on a ledger, it's about real people who are affected by the village's poor management. The firefighters, in particular, are caught in the middle, as their pay, benefits, and retirement funds hang in the balance, while Henyard indulges in luxuries. The welfare of the town's public servants is at risk, and their struggles highlight the broader issues plaguing Dalton. As legal and financial challenges continue to mount for Henyard, her once silent support from the township trustees is beginning to erode. Trustee Carmen Carlisle, who had previously supported Henyard, recently announced she would no longer remain silent about the ongoing concerns regarding the mayor's leadership. Carlisle's change of allegiance marks a shift in the political landscape of Dalton and reflects the growing public dissatisfaction with Henyard's administration. As more trustees break ranks and join the growing chorus of criticism, the pressure on Henyard to address the financial mismanagement and restore trust in her leadership has never been greater. The crisis in Dalton is a reminder of the vital importance of transparent leadership and fiscal responsibility. The firefighters who risk their lives daily for the community deserve far better than they are receiving, and the citizens of Dalton deserve a government that will prioritize their well-being over personal indulgence. As the situation continues to unfold, the people of Dalton are left to wonder whether Henyard's reign will come to an end, or if the town will be forced to endure financial ruin.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make a statement really quick. I want to address an incident that took place at a board meeting in Dalton that most of you were in, and it was a lot of negative energy going on in the room, and I attempted to bring a positive perspective to the discussion, and my approach was not received well, and instead of maintaining my composure.
Carmen Carlisle's recent apology has raised many questions. After years of silence, what prompted her to finally speak out? Once a staunch supporter of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Carlisle defended her actions despite growing concerns of corruption from both the public and fellow trustees. Now, Carlisle claims to be a whistleblower who has had a change of heart. But is this truly a shift in perspective, or is she simply trying to distance herself from a sinking ship? The public remains wary of Carlisle's sincerity, given her troubled past. In October 2022, she was investigated for theft and misconduct while working at the Cook County Assessor's Office. She was charged with manipulating timesheets and getting paid for work she didn't perform. Some believe Carlisle's apology is more about self-preservation than a genuine moral epiphany, fearing the consequences of continuing her allegiance to Henyard. Her true concern may be losing her job, as her ties to Team Tiffany are becoming increasingly untenable in light of public outrage. The residents of Dalton feel betrayed by their elected officials, including Carlisle. Many view her apology as insufficient, especially since she, along with other trustees, ignored Henyard's questionable actions for years. This lack of accountability has only fueled public frustration. In April, a lawsuit was filed against Dalton, alleging that Henyard and village officials collaborated to deny necessary permits to a business owner despite the required approvals being in place. The suit claims the denial was motivated by Henyard's personal financial interests, as the applications didn't benefit her. This legal action further highlights the corruption that has plagued the town. The imposition of a financial freeze is a significant victory for Dalton residents, but it is only the beginning. Henyard's days of unchecked spending may be coming to an end, but investigations into her financial practices are ongoing, and more incriminating evidence is likely to surface. The weight of Henyard's financial mismanagement, along with her controversial decisions, has set the stage for what could be the final blow to her political career. As long as Henyard remains in office, there is a risk that she could continue her corrupt practices. It is crucial for Dalton's residents to stay vigilant, maintain pressure, and demand accountability. While the freeze on spending is a positive step, the fight for true leadership, transparency, and accountability in Dalton is far from over. The future of the town depends on the people's ability to advocate for the change they deserve.